For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Georgia seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I seek recognition to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows: declaring the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives to be vacant.
Hep, hep! Boo! Hep, hep! Boo! Hep, hep! Boo! Hep, hep!
Boo! You stink!
Oh boy, plenty more of that to come, folks, as Marjorie Taylor Greene was humiliated on the House floor as she tried to call her motion to vacate Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, something she has been yammering on about and threatening to do for weeks now. And credit where credit is due, she actually did it. And in doing so, gave us some utterly hilarious moments of the House, CNN, even other Republicans embarrassing her and just throwing shade left and right. And let me tell you, folks, it is pretty hard to be that hated in anything. Maybe less so in government. I mean, just look at Ted Cruz. But in a time of so much division and chaos, I really appreciate that nothing quite brings people together like dumping on Marjorie Taylor Greene. It truly transcends partisanship. I mean, if they made a Marjorie Taylor Greene sucks bill where we make a national holiday and I don't know, I'll get to throw tomatoes at her, that would have no problem getting through even this deadbeat Republican House. But okay, enough ranting. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new here, and let's talk numbers. Because as you could get from that raucous reaction, God, I haven't seen a room of old farts get that lively since Elvis bingo night at the old folks home. You would probably guess it didn't turn out well for Marjorie, and you'd be absolutely right.
He's absolutely right.
Because we'll start here by skipping to the end and showing you the end result of all of that absolute nonsense.
On this vote, the yeas are 359, the nays are 43, with 7 answering present. The motion is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Well, I'll be damned. That motion went down faster than Lauren Boebert at a theater. And let's just unpack that a little bit. The vote, not Boebert. I don't think there's really any depth there. But essentially what that vote was for was to table Marjorie's motion to oust Speaker Johnson, thus killing it. The vote was 349 to 43 in favor of tabling, with 7 voting present. And of those votes to table or kill the motion, 196 were Republicans and 163 were Democrats. So even her own party looked at Dairy Queen and said,
Why don't you go talk about Jewish space lasers, and really, why don't you f off? How about that?
And then with the tabling of her motion, we got this absolutely savage and hilarious diss as Jake Tapper announced it on air. Take a listen.
Well, here we go.
Yeas are 43, with 7 answering present. The motion is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
So that is the death of Marjorie Taylor Greene's motion to vacate, offered by Congressman Steve Scalise. The motion to table is essentially Kristi Noem taking a shotgun to Cricket's head. It's the death of that effort.
Holy hell, comparing the death of Marjorie's bill to Kristi Noem's dog. And we've talked more than enough about Kristi in other videos, but the long story short is she essentially killed her own political career by admitting and bragging about how she put down her 14-month-old puppy for being untrainable and dangerous like 20 years ago. Absolutely insane. And just like her, Jake Tapper really hit 2 birds with 1 stone here. But he wasn't the only one dishing it out on Marjorie. Even Republicans came out to dunk on her, like Representative Michael Lawler of New York. Here's just the first part of what he had to say about her.
Why do you think she moved for the motion to vacate now when she's been in the middle of conversations with Speaker Johnson this week, and he has been making an effort to talk to her for hours and hours and hours, and obviously they agree on a lot of issues, just his majority is, pretty slim.
Because, again, some people aren't serious about governing and actually getting things done. They would rather just get attention for throwing temper tantrums and acting out. This is part of the problem with Congress. You have members on both sides of the aisle who are more interested in conspiracy theories and crazy political games than they are in actually the hard work of governing.
Right, and clearly, as we've seen, that is a perfect description of exactly what Marjorie does in the House. Now, Mike Lawler is what he calls a moderate Republican, but there was absolutely nothing moderate about the statements he continued to make about Marjorie on Capitol Hill earlier today.
Moscow Marjorie has clearly gone off the deep end, maybe the result of a space laser, but this type of tantrum is absolutely unacceptable, and it does nothing to further the cause of the conservative movement. The only people who have stymied our ability to govern are the very people that have pulled these types of stunts throughout the course of this Congress to undermine the House Republican majority.
I mean, that is just chef's kiss. First of all, you love to see Moscow Marge catching on in even the vernacular of Republican congressmen. But he even got in the Jewish space laser joke. Yo, I know Netflix just did Tom Brady, but this right here is the roast of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And this is so telling of the facts that we already know about how Republicans are not there to govern despite their majority, especially the fringe MAGA ones. They're literally only here for clicks and rage baiting and making a splash with these useless culture war fights. Little skirmishes in the ongoing greater GOP civil war. They are literally their own worst enemies. And then you also had South Dakota Republican Dusty Johnson absolutely dusting Marjorie too. Here is what he had to say.
Listen in.
1 second, Jake. We got reaction.
Yeah, go.
Is calling for a motion to vacate. Listen, all of us in life get to decide how we handle disappointment. You can be productive or you can be destructive. Ms. Taylor Greene is choosing destructive. We know that this motion is not going to do one thing to make America stronger. It's not going to do one thing to deliver a conservative victory. It's going to sow discord and dissent. And by the way, it's going to fail. She is engaged in a failing act of political theater. What you have here are some of the Main Street members who are the adults. And we're going to do what adults do. We are going to ignore the tantrums and instead work to actually govern this country.
God, you know something is seriously wrong when you find yourself agreeing with everything Republicans have to say. Also, can we just appreciate how all these comments are literally being said live while she's still talking on the floor? I mean, I thought the rap beef between Kendrick and Drake was bad, but this is another level of downright disrespect, and frankly, I am here for it. Not everyone heard two words come out of Marjorie's squawking mouth and said, "All right, I'm gonna head out." Some people stuck around to give Marjorie a taste of her own medicine and heckle her in person.
7, develop and grow our majority by building upon our resources and expanding.
God, I just love the visible look of annoyance on her face. Now maybe she finally understands how we feel whenever she opens her mouth. And these disruptions also led to Mr. Tattletale Tom Massey whining and complaining to the teacher that the house wasn't in order.
After 3.5 weeks of trying to decide on a new Speaker of the House.
Mr. Speaker, the House is not in order.
House will be in order.
All right, Milhouse, chill with that, bro. But you know, none of these people are the brightest in the bunch. Mike Johnson is out here trying to make it illegal for non-citizens to vote, even though that's already illegal, so clearly the Republicans have their hands full with these sham policies and political theater. And as we see, yet again, so clearly, they cannot actually govern or get anything done. It's disgraceful, it's disgusting, but hey, at least they're making their true colors known to all of us, and that puts the responsibility on us to make sure they cannot continue to pull this kind of crap come November. So that's where we are here, ladies and gentlemen. I honestly didn't know if she was going to go Kristi Noem and pull the trigger, especially with Mike Johnson cozying up to Trump, but she did it, and we, unlike Lauren Boebert, got to enjoy the show. The shit show. Let me know your thoughts in those comments down below about this whole embarrassing fiasco. Let me know what your favorite Republican diss was on Marjorie today. And if you liked the video, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell and hit up our Patreon link in the description to support the channel and help us put an end to this absolute nonsense come November. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse, and I'll see you all in the next one.